Hey babes. It has been it's been I think like a month since I have made any videos, done any lives. I know I have been MIA cuz life has just been crazy. And that is really an understatement. If you are here from my email list, I announced this live on my email list, and I talked a little bit about some of the stuff that's been going on with me personally. But my personal life, my professional life, all of it has been a hot mess, to say the least. So this season, I'm just in a very hard season right now. And despite being in a very hard season right now, I have been able to do some things to at least keep myself like afloat or keep myself at a base level of well being. And so I wanted to share that and talk about that today, share some of the things that I've been doing. Um, like I said, my life is low key a mess right now, but I wanted to kind of use, I guess, what I'm going through to be able to create something or share something that is helpful for this community, helpful for you, and just, you know, provide you guys with something helpful. So today I am chatting about what to do when life gets hard, when you are in a hard season. Maybe you're experiencing burnout, maybe you are super stressed out, maybe you're dealing with grief, maybe you're dealing with anxiety, any of those things, if that sounds like you. And I also think this is going to resonate with my type A people a lot, because if you are used to things going smoothly for you, or you being able to, I guess, kind of have more control over your life, you're used to being just like really in control. I think this video is going to be super helpful for you. Now, I do want to start off by saying I am not a mental health professional. So if you are dealing with um, depression or chronic anxiety or chronic depression, or you know that you are in a mental place where this is like has been more of a long-term thing for you, or you feel like you're going into a place where this has been a long term thing for you, I just want to be sure that I say that be sure to seek professional guidance with that, whether it's a therapist, whether it's with your primary care physician. Just make sure that if you feel like this is something more serious than, just having a hard time, that you are seeking professional guidance. And I would say, even if you know you feel like, okay, this is a temporary season, this is a hard season, you should still kind of be doing some of those base level things like seeing a therapist, journaling, seeking spiritual guidance. I if you're watching this, I'm Christian, but whatever your belief is, seeking spiritual guidance, seeking God for answers in this season of life, if that's what you believe in. But I'm going to jump right on in. And if you have any questions, just drop them in the chat as I'm talking. Is my chat visible? I can't tell. Let me see. Okay, let me put my, try to make sure my chat is visible. If you happen to catch this after the fact, make sure that you drop any questions or comments that you might have in the comment section. And yeah, let me just jump into it. So, like I said, for me, I have been experiencing things personally, things professionally, like just all around, even somewhat health wise, just all around. And so this has been a really hard season for me, because I feel like I'm coming, or I was previously in a season where I felt like I was doing really well and winning all the time. So it's just kind of been hard. So personally, I do have a therapist. That is a tool that I'm using right now, but these are some other practical things that I've been implementing that have been really helpful for me. So, the first thing that I have had to do, and again, I think this is going to resonate with my type A girlies that are in the community, um, accept that things are hard. And I know that sounds very simple and very easy, but again, if you are used to, winning, pulling it all together, that might actually be more difficult to you. But I think admitting that, hey, things are just hard right now. Like, I am dealing with some hard things right now. I can say all the affirmations, I can pray, I can meditate, I can do all the things, but this is just a hard season right now. I think having some level of acceptance will make it easier to do the other things that I'm going to mention in this video. Now, the next thing, and I talked about this a little bit in my email that I sent out the other day, but I think it's important for you to decide where you are going to drop the ball. Me personally, I had to drop the ball with Blissfully Hormonal, with the blog, with the YouTube. I just had to. I just did not have the bandwidth um, that I needed to be able to do this, carry on with my full time job, and just emotionally deal with all the things that I had going on. And for the old me, I think that would have been very difficult for me because I felt like I was making a lot of progress here. Um, but I think by coming to that acceptance that I'm just in a hard season and I cannot do everything or I don't have the bandwidth to do everything, I felt a sense of relief just giving myself permission to say, okay, I am not going to be able to show up at all or show up at 100% in this area. And so I want you to really think about all the areas in your life that you are juggling right now, that you are literally, you got all the balls in the air right now, and put them into two, three categories. And it might even be helpful to write this out, but some areas you're going to have to coast in, some areas you're going to have to completely drop altogether, and some areas you're going to excel in. To be honest, I had to drop the ball on quite a few things, or a couple areas in my life, and I had to coast in some areas of my life. I can even be honest and say, even in my parenting right now, I felt like I coasted a little bit because I let my kid watch TV and play video games for more than would normally be acceptable or comfortable to me. My house was dirtier than usual. My Even career wise, I wasn't um, doing as much as I normally feel like I could have been doing career wise. And again, even with this platform, I just kind of had to take a step back so that I could regroup. And I think giving yourself permission to do that can really help you during hard times. The next thing that I did, and I feel like this is a super practical tip, was that, or is, because I'm still practicing this. I practice this really regardless of what season of life I'm in, but really getting outdoors more. And I know this sounds kind of like a frivolous thing, but actually being outdoors more, I find that, especially now that it's summer, it's warmer, the sun is out earlier, I feel like being in the sun more actually charges me. It's almost like I'm a battery and the sun is like my battery pack. And so when I get out there in the sun, get that sunlight on my skin, I actually feel better. Now there are days where I will go outside because I try to walk most days and I try to walk outside as much as possible. But there are days that I literally had to drag myself outside, and I just felt like it just felt like a chore. But once I got out there and once I felt that sunlight hit my skin, once I felt the breeze, heard the birds, I was able to push myself. Even if it was only a 15-minute walk, I was able to do something that I felt like really uplifted me and gave me just a little bit of energy, or recharged me a little bit more so that I can do the next thing that I absolutely had to do. And speaking of getting outside, my next tip is to go for longer walks. Now, again, if 5, 10 minutes is all you got in you, I totally get it. But in this season right now, I'm spending as much time as I can walking, because what I found is that choosing that as my form of movement or form of exercise has done tremendous has been tremendously helpful for my mental health. I notice that when I walk, and by the way, I don't walk with headphones in, like I don't listen to anything. I literally just either I'm paying attention to nature, like I said, the wind on my skin, the birds chirping, the bushes rustling. Either I'm paying attention to that thing, and it's almost a meditative thing for me, or maybe I'm thinking through some of my issues. Maybe I am meditating on, some positives in my life right now. Sometimes I'm literally just thanking God that the sun is out today, and, thanking God for how beautiful it is outside. Though that can do a tremendous amount for not just your physical health, but for your mental health. And like I said, I find walking to be almost a meditative experience. So, the next thing that I think everyone should do during a hard season, to preserve your well being. Now, we all have these routines where we're like, you know, maybe you got a strong morning routine, maybe you got a strong nighttime routine, or maybe even both. Maybe when you're crushing it, you have this like you got this rhythm and this routine going, right? But during hard seasons, sometimes you just can't pull it together. You can't pull these routines together. And so, what I would encourage you to do is pick one thing from your routine, or pick one part of your, of the wellness plan that you've created for yourself, and phone it in. So, for me, unfortunately, that has been my eating. And while I am not cooking at home as much, or really I've started back cooking at home more again, but like for a good month, I was eating out several days a week. I probably ate out 5 days, dinner 5 days a week. And you know what? Instead of beating myself up about that, instead of saying, oh, this is horrible, I'm doing a horrible job, I simply created boundaries around that and said, okay, right now, this works for my energy levels, my bandwidth, and what I'm dealing with right now. Like this just is something that kind of has to happen. Like I need to eat, I need to nourish myself. So I just pick a few places that have healthier options or healthy options, and I said, okay, this is gonna be what I eat. Now that means that a lot of times when I'm eating out, I'm eating the same things. I could literally, at one point, I had the same smoothie bowl 5 days in a row or something like that. Like it was like several days in a row where I would just go get this same smoothie bowl. And that's all I had the bandwidth to do, right? Is get in the car, drive around the corner, and go get it. Like, that was just it for me. But I created this boundary to where, okay, this is this is the only thing that I can eat from this restaurant. This is the only thing that fits into where I want to be health wise that I can eat from this place. Or at, maybe there are five different places that have options that you can eat. And I kind of had like a rotation of like very specific things that I would eat. And what that did is it kind of took away some of the decision fatigue of figuring out, what I wanted to eat and figuring out, okay, what's going to be healthier, what's going to work. I just went ahead and said, okay, this is where I can eat, and this is specifically what I can eat from these places. And honestly, again, that's one less thing that I had to figure out. And I was still able to nourish myself. I was still able to give myself food that, made me feel better and not just go crazy for a whole month straight and make myself feel even worse. So, again, just pick something, that maybe you got to phone it in. Maybe you got to put it on autopilot. Maybe you're going to eat the same breakfast every day. Maybe you'll, do the same workout every single day because it's just something that you don't have to think of. Maybe you will, I don't know. Maybe you go walk on the trail and you do the exact same thing every day. And so not only does this like help you keep or stay consistent even when you're not feeling that well, it will also help to move you out of this place of not feeling well. Another thing that I would do is pick something that you're going to do daily that's going to improve your well-being. This this can be something super small, super micro, tiny. Maybe it can be going to sit out on your patio for 5 minutes. Maybe it can be texting someone that you have a good relationship with and just sending them memes or some or yeah memes or gifts or something. Maybe this can be um I dry brush every day. It's just something that I've really gotten into, and I feel like it actually makes me feel better. I feel like it helps with my energy. So I started dry brushing every day. So I do some kind of like dry brushing routine almost every day, or sometimes I'll use my hands. But just something small. It doesn't have to be anything like it that's super time consuming, that is going that's super complicated. It can be the smallest thing ever. A cup of tea, just something small. And the last thing that I would suggest is to find a leisure activity that you can get into. Now, this doesn't have to be something that you do every day. It can be something that maybe you just, maybe you do it a couple times a week. It doesn't have to be something you're good at. You don't even necessarily have to consider this activity a hobby. It's just something that's not serious, that doesn't require you to think a whole lot about doing it. And for me, that thing has been reading nonfiction or reading fiction. So this year, was it this year? Yeah, this year I made a decision that I would not read any nonfiction books. And I know that sounds crazy, especially for someone who is really into personal development or growth. But the reason that I made this decision is that I wanted to have something in my life that was fun, that was leisurely, that was light. And I kind of found that with me consuming so much like self help content, and whether it be books, podcasts, all that, I just had to take a break from that because I also felt like it was stifling my creativity. And so I decided going forward, I'm only reading fiction books, stuff that's fun, stuff that's light, stuff that's interesting, that has nothing to do with me, nothing to do with what I'm going through. Maybe it's just a form of escape for me too, but it's just something leisurely. So I would encourage you to really find something leisurely that you can do that's light, that's not serious, that you can do, maybe even a couple times a week, just when you need that lightness in your life. So let me make sure I don't have any comments here before I get off. Okay, I feel like I'm touching in the camera. Let me know in the comments if you're watching this. Well, I'm about to get off. So let me know in the comments if you found this video helpful, if any of these resonated with you. And yeah, just drop that in the comments. Make sure that you like this video. Make sure you are subscribed so that more people can watch these videos, so that, especially if you found this helpful, because that helps other people who might need this type of video be able to find it. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you guys in the next video.